where he lives. 4,500 square foot flat. Geez, no one's buying my photos. I bought them this morning.
Yeah, I want to sell it now because I bought a whole bunch of stuff at an auction.
So send us a message because otherwise, you know,
But at $20
it's somebody else's land.
A couple of months ago, the board of directors tasked me to come up with some ideas for expanding membership. And one of the things we came up with was we're going to be offering to students of photography, well, not so much photography, but just in general, photography, and something about a scholarship for $1,000 a year. We're going to the Disney Prize. It's a lot of work.
And some people send us, you know, an article. Some people send us many, many articles all at once that there's no connection to. And they ask us to take something out of all of these articles and write the article ourselves. Some people send us photographs that are thumbnails that can't be published. They're too small to be published. So I have to call them back and ask them to send me a CD with large files.
This coming January, I had originally said there was going to be a 3 members program, but that's changed a little bit because originally it was going to be Bud and myself and Art Vaughn, and when Bud and I saw what Art Vaughn had to offer, we wanted to give him the whole time. And the program in January is going to be about doing some very high magnification photomicrography with junk lenses.
Some years ago, a member gave me a shopping bag full of pieces of wood and said, there are 2 5x7 cameras in here, and if you put one together for me, you can have what's left. So I made them a camera, and then I started gluing together all the other bits and pieces, and ended up with most of a 5x7 camera, although it only had a 4x5 back on it. And then there it sat in my living room or dining room for some number of years until...
And just to conclude the unusual cameras, this doesn't look particularly unusual, for sure. It's a pre-World War II Oxford, which was made by Unity. And I found this at a flea market. And I looked down and, you know, there was something different at the bottom. And it read H.B. Shaw. Really? Really? My name is Edward. My grandfather's name was Herbert. So I did some research on the company, and God behold, it was my great-grandfather's distributing company that he ran out of Worcester, Massachusetts. He said, well, we just don't know what to do with them. So I saw this one right in the corner as I was leaving, and I said, you're going to get rid of these, is there any chance I can take this one? Because there were about 4 of them, exactly like this. He says, yeah, you can take that one. So I took it, brought it home. I called a couple of friends, and I said, we're going to throw out all these pictures at the Naylor collection. I said, it's crazy. And the guy who I talked to said, that's unbelievable. He says, if you have any way in the world to get them all. Jack had acquired this particular print, framed and everything as it is, as large as it is. And this is not a gold tone print. This is a gold print. Now that's a very obscure process. But when you look at the picture and you see it, everything in it is in terms of gold color, shadow, highlights, and the whole works in between.
I just had a comment on some things Henry said. George Barker, of course, was one of the most famous stereo photographers of Niagara Falls, and I have about 20 or 25 of his stereo reviews. And Seaver was the prime photographer of the Honeywell topiary gardens that Jim Lutke gave a program on last year. So it's kind of interesting.
And it was with regards to having delivered the trade camera to him. And there were 3 models. I unfortunately have only been able to come up with 2 of them. The third one, the biggest difference between the third model was the fact that it was colored gray instead of being black. And as you can see, let me just read what it says about the trade cooperation. The consumer camera division, the photo instrumentation division, the art craft division, the leather division, the mail merchandise division, and the photo processing division. Sounds to me like these guys had their fingers in all the pies. The cases are quite nice. They were very, very nicely made, good leather, very aptly finished or furnished or whatever you want to call it. And these are the two trades that I have. And they are both pretty much similar in content. If you notice, this one has 3 buttons on it, this one has 2. And the buttons are labeled far, medium, and close, and this one they're labeled far and close. Now, the unique part of this camera is, as far as history goes, this is probably the first completely motorized camera with a completely built-in flash unit. 1969, let's stop and think about it. There weren't very many. There were motorized units. There were electronic flashes, but very few cameras, probably none, had this built-in motor and built-in flash.
Maybe a few items that were I considered junk. I couldn't believe it. So I left a bid. Actually, I left a substantial bid. My wife says, maybe you should leave more. I said, maybe I should just leave the bid that I left and we're out of here. And I got the call the next day. I always get the call at about 11:30 the next morning that says, you won, come over and get your stuff out of here.
It's it's a complete photograph of everything, including a CD with a picture of everything that he had in his collection.
We'll see that today.
All right.
Was this the first or the second collection?
This is the second collection.
Yeah.
He had those made up, but the wooden ones were special. But he told me he was selling them for $100 each.
Well, he
The
didn't sell.
catalog, the gold catalog, not the
Right.
wood. The wood
I didn't
was-
have to pay for any of this.
Yeah.
And Eastman Kodak came out with this about 1894. They had already come out with the satchel, and I think they were selling that somewhere between $50 and $80. They had the string pull camera, which they come out with in 1888, and by now they were up to about number 2 or 3, and they were selling them for pretty good money. This little camera here, they were selling for around $22.
You want to take a quiz?
Squeeze
in a little bit.
Squeeze.
Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. Just step back over the cliff. No, you get back first.
I'll tell you in a minute. How long is your show?
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Countries after World War II and after the formation of East Germany. We'll remember those. This is an unusual camera I picked up at a thrift shop because it's an APS camera and it says Praktika with the Pentagon symbol on it. I've never seen anything like that, and I never believed that they were actually involved in anything as modern as that. But also the other thing, the interesting thing about it is it says made in China on the bottom.
There's an auction near me, a few minutes away, and I like to go. And a few weeks ago I went, and I bought this tintype, but what I didn't know is it's a mammoth tintype, and I had never seen one so big. So I don't know what type of camera was used to make it. Maybe somebody can tell me.
Wet plate.
Wet plate? But it's, I mean, it measures, I think it's 10 by 14.
Oh, that's even bigger.
Yeah, that's an 11 by 14.
Yeah, so I just wanted to pass that on to let you know. I've never, like I said, never seen one, so I'm going to be selling this.
Longer than I thought. So as you know, we've already heard, we got a phone call. I was asked to go down and take a look. I called Enid. I said to her, how much room do you have? How much room do I need in my car to pick this stuff up? She said, I don't really know what we got exactly. I said, can I fit it in the trunk of my car? She said, sure. So I said, okay. But then I had gone to lunch with Joe Walters, and I said, you know, Joe, come on down with me. Let's take a look at what they've got over there. I don't even know what's going on. And then Ron Polito.